Hello and good day everyone, meteorologist Mark Molnar here for MeteoMark's weather. Another update here as we have Tropical Depression 2 likely to become Tropical Storm Beryl and eventually Hurricane Beryl as we head throughout the weekend into next week. This system will be bearing down on the Lesser Antilles, and could it be on its way to Jamaica and beyond here? We'll take a look and see what the forecast models are showing for this system, as well as the rest of the tropics and your severe weather update. Let's get into it. And before we continue, I wanted to show you this on our model loop. Could we be looking at two distinct hurricanes next week? It's quite possible here with potential Beryl and then the next one behind it. All right, so as we start off here with our European model, you can see, showing up quite nicely here. I'll just zoom out. This is our cone of certainty or uncertainty, whatever you want to call it here. This essentially, the storm's going to blow up over the weekend, likely becoming Beryl. You can see Beryl is going to barrel towards the Lesser Antilles. So as we head throughout the weekend, this storm's actually going to be able to gain strength. Barbados is potentially first in its crosshairs here. This is 8 a.m. on July 1st. Here's the Lesser Antilles, Trinidad, Tobago, all the way up the island chain here to the Virgin Islands. Puerto Rico's up here, Dominican Republic. So there's the coastline of South America. Let's continue as we see the storm continue to move across the islands here. So we're going to look at St. Vincent, St. Lucia area, just north of Grenada here. It's looking like this model slowed it down just slightly here around 2 p.m. landfall on Monday, July 1st here. So yeah, it's going to be very crucial here. Of course, the storm continuing towards the west-northwest, continuing to strengthen here into the Caribbean. So our guidance is showing this at Category 2 strength max here. It's possible this could overshoot and go to 3 because I'll show you on the intensity scale momentarily here, as well as on the GFS. So this storm continues west-northwestward here, July 3rd. Now look what's behind it here. It's going to show up very good here on the GFS momentarily, but there's our next system following an exact same path. This could be becoming a hurricane as well. Now this storm bears down right on Jamaica, right around July 3rd at 5 p.m., and then heads westward towards Yucatan here around July 4th. So this could be reorganizing, very weak steering currents in this area, eventually making landfall again here towards Belize and the Yucatan, and then heading and re-strengthening here into the Western Gulf, and then making another landfall in Mexico. So this is a lot of landfalls here. So this is something we're going to have to keep a very close watch on. And then as we watch our next system, let's just back this up here. You can see our next system barreling through here. Right around July 4th, the system comes right through the same area as St. Vincent, Grenada, Barbados, St. Lucia here. And then towards July 5th, intensification here across the Caribbean. And could this be heading for Jamaica again? It's quite possible as we head right towards July 6th into July 7th. Yeah, we could be looking at another landfall here in Jamaica, and then look at all this tropical moisture associated with it across the Western Caribbean. And our GFS model here, you can take a look at this. Yeah, we're going to see some rapid intensification here. That's why I think this is going to become likely Beryl pretty quickly here. You can see this is just over the weekend. Let's zoom in on this. So here's the Lesser Antilles right over here. You can see the South American coastline here. And look at how quickly the GFS blows this up. GFS is going a little bit north of guidance here, you can see. But this, eyes showing up. And then our next big system behind it could, at this point, be a tropical storm by Monday. So this is looking like a very active pattern. Landfall around St. Vincent, Barbados area. Of course, Barbados would be the first one, just on the northern side there. That would be 11 a.m., so sometime around 8 a.m., 10 a.m., and there's 11 a.m. bearing down on St. Vincent, these islands. It's going to be really close, though, so keep an eye on this. This wobbles a little bit to the north here on the GFS. Look at this. This is by 5 a.m. on the 2nd. So essentially to the north here, you have Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands up here, northern Lesser Antilles, And look where that puts us. GFS is going a little bit further to the north of the cone, and that puts it towards, say, the south side of the island of Hispaniola. Now look what the GFS is doing with our next system out here behind it. I hate to say that, but it blows it up into a hurricane as well. Could we have dual hurricanes out here? It is quite possible. And as we continue to go out here in time, you can see that bearing down a little bit further to the north, St. Lucia here. St. Lucia. And look at this as we head towards, say, Haiti. This would be horrible. The GFS solution, I'm not sure I'm quite buying the GFS on going this far to the north. It's going to be close between Jamaica and Haiti here, so please stay tuned. You know, this is getting out towards Wednesday of next week, so it's possible this could bear down on Cuba, and then it looks like it really starts to weaken. Our next potential hurricane out here, tropical storm, hurricane, whatever. Yeah, there it is. It's forming another eye. A similar path. This could be very problematic, so please stay tuned. If this does end up happening, this would be tremendous life-threatening flooding rains as well in these mountainous areas. But as we head to that last frame, you can see this is right around July 7th. Look at it. It's moisture entering the Eastern Gulf, so we're going to have to keep a close watch because, you know, the GFS takes these storms a little bit further to the north, whereas the European is bending them once they get past Jamaica here towards Central America. All right, so as we look at our hurricane model here, our HWRF off of our, yeah, it's still saying Invest 95L up here, but this is 2, likely becoming Beryl here shortly. This system is rapidly intensifying, and as we can see, here is our hurricane model. Now, this really intensifying as we head into Sunday here, likely becoming a hurricane at this point. And you can see where it's lining right up. It goes right over Barbados here. So that is right around, let's get a timestamp on this, 8 a.m. on Monday morning, July 1st. And then this approaches St. Vincent, St. Lucia, these areas by 2 p.m. on July 1st, Monday. Monday's the big day. So you should start preparing now. This would be a very good time. And then look at this, 958 millibars as we head into July 2nd here. Watch how this thing becomes a buzzsaw. 960, a little bit north of guidance by this point, probably because of the intensity here, 954 millibars. And then look at this, as we continue to go out here towards July 3rd, here's Jamaica. So here's the coastline. This is the last frame, by the way. There is Haiti, Dominican Republic, and right here is Jamaica. So let's see, is that our last frame? No, we have a few more frames. There we go. So this thing essentially becoming a massive buzzsaw by July 3rd at 2 p.m., at least on our hurricane model here. And this is staring Jamaica right here from the east. This would be a worst case scenario. The hurricane model's going crazy here. And if we just zoom out, you can see, look at the perspective there. So this thing looks like a buzzsaw. So our intensity scale here for Tropical Depression 2, likely Beryl here, we're looking at Category 3 definitely in striking range here. We have a few ensemble members, models going all the way up to 4 here. But this is, I'm thinking, strong 2 into 3 is definitely obtainable within 72 here to 96 hours. All right, so for our developing systems out here, where they are headed, there is a tremendous amount of high sea surface temperature content here. So, yeah, this is going to be, you know, some rapid intensification, and it heads all the way up to the Gulf as well if these systems do manage to make their way in the Gulf. And look at out here in the MDR. You can see to the north here, that's caused by the Saharan dust, but just south of it here, yeah, we have a lot of high sea surface temperature content to work with here. So thanks to Tropical Tidbits here for the dry air analysis. You see these brown areas, orangish brown. This is where the dust is for Saharan dust. You can really see it. There's our system. Moving to the west-northwest here, 966 millibars. Look at, there's that other system just on its heels here. So that's going to be moving towards the northwest here. GFS, his latest run has bumped it up a little bit, but look at this. That system right on its heels, and I hate to tell you, but look what's developing right on its heels, right out here, south of the Cape Verde Islands here. And look at that. That could potentially become a hurricane as well. Our system up here kind of gets washed out a bit. Look at that. That's kind of curious on this run. There it is. It's showing back up, but much weaker. The close proximity of these storms to each other will also interact, but they'll also provide an environment where, you know, the mid to upper layers remain pretty moist. And around you to the northwest across the Gulf, and then this dry air kicking into the east here across the Lesser Antilles will act to put a cap on tropical development. Look at all that dust out there behind all this. In this last frame, I wanted to show you something here. Look at how these two systems kind of interact. Could we be looking at them moving further north towards the eastern Gulf? That's quite possible. All right, so as we take a look at the European model here, you can see our intertropical converted zone, our system right out here. Tropical storm, then hurricane. And there's our other system showing up on the European model. And look at this monster behind it coming off the African coastline here. So yeah, there'll be some dry air out ahead of our system here into the Western Caribbean. That could be the thing that puts the nail in rapid intensification once it gets to the Western Caribbean. But we'll keep an eye on it here. Here's our next system. Also some dry air trying to wrap around it here and having some success there onto the western edge of it as it moves near Jamaica. There's our first system, potentially Beryl. So yeah, this is going to be rather interesting to see how this plays out. But, you know, dry air as well as these high-pressure systems should keep these systems spinning towards the west-northwest here. And I haven't said anything about Invest 94L out here. What's going to happen with it? Well, you know, it does have that 30% chance of development, so we have to watch it here over the weekend. It could potentially develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm just before landfall here late Sunday evening. So please stay tuned for this, especially if you're in eastern Mexico. It looks like it's going to make a little bit landfall further south, way further south of Tampico. So that might be some good news here. It'll give some of these other areas that didn't see rain the last couple systems, and that washes out there across parts of the central Mexican mountains here. So the Caribbean, Central America here. Here's Invest 94L. It might become a tropical storm. Anywhere from 90 to 125 millimeters of rainfall. That could mean a total of 3 to as much as 5 inches here. Here is where the GFS is showing, you know, Beryl coming right up through here. A little bit further to the north. It's kind of interesting here. As of late, you know, this latest model up to 100, 150 millimeters. We'll have to see if that's, you know, how much these models bounce around here on the GFS. And if we take a look at the European model here, look at this. Yeah, we're looking at heavy rain continuing across Central America. Here is what's Invest 95L becoming essentially a tropical depression here at this late stage of the game. Tropical Storm Beryl, eventually Hurricane Beryl. Look at this. Yeah, we're looking at Jamaica, Southern Hispaniola, Cayman Islands here. 90, 150 millimeters of rainfall here showing up all the way over to Belize. You know, this is going to be a solid 4 to 8 inches in many locations. So if we're looking at the Eastern Caribbean here, there is Beryl, potentially Beryl. I'm already calling it Beryl, but it's Tropical Depression 2 at this point. But you get the idea. Here it is, the path. This is where we'll see that 100 to 150, some areas up to 200 millimeters, you know, 4 to as much as 10 inches. All right, so severe weather here. This is what we're looking at for Saturday. Could this go to enhanced risk? It's possible. We're looking at a big area of slight risk, much of Ohio, upstate New York, Pennsylvania here. These areas, we're looking at quite a bit in the way of hail, wind, and maybe an isolated tornado. And then as we head to Sunday, yeah, the Northeast corridor, watch out. Things could get really, really strong here across much of the big cities of the Northeast, heading all the way up towards Maine here. And even a marginal risk in a very large area of the green shaded here. All right, so we're going to look at what's going to happen with the severe weather here across the eastern Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley as we head into the overnight. You know, some of these storms could be strong. Look at this near Cleveland, Akron up towards Erie here. Watching, you know, northern New York as well, and out here in Illinois. So we're going to continue to watch it here. We've got a lot that we need to discuss with severe weather threats as we head towards 1 p.m. on Saturday. Here you can see some stronger cells, northeast Ohio, northwest Pennsylvania, southwest New York, even up here into Ontario and parts of southern Quebec. We could be looking at that slight risk. Could it go to enhanced? It's quite possible. Look at this as we head towards 3 p.m., 4 p.m. Yeah, some of these cells really get cranking here on the southern side of this system. So we're going to be watching out for this, and it could form into a solid squall line by 6 p.m. This is by 8 p.m. Looking across central Pennsylvania. And this is just going to head eastward towards the Poconos, the Catskills, eventually southeastern Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, and New Jersey as we head throughout midnight here, where the best instability will fall southeast here. So yeah, we're looking at a big, a severe weather day here across the Northeast. And as we get towards 3 a.m. on Sunday morning, look at the cells firing out here into parts of the Ohio Valley. And we get a resurgence towards 5 a.m. So we're not out of the woods yet. Yeah, it's going to be quite a wet and stormy weekend across much of the Ohio Valley into the Northeast here. And more storms firing out here into the central states. So yeah, we're likely to have, another push of stronger thunderstorms up here in the Northeast. This is towards 11 a.m. So we're kicking off early. And look at this, another round in Pennsylvania, West Virginia. But look at up towards Boston, Connecticut up here, parts of Maine. We could be looking at some stronger cells as well. And, down here across much of the Gulf Coast region. So let's just do a time loop. You can see throughout your Saturday. As we head throughout Saturday, yeah, you get this shower and thunderstorm action with the tropical moisture. That dies off at night. And then look at here as we head throughout Sunday morning into early afternoon. Florida really getting on the act here, as well as the Bahamas and South Texas here with there's our Invest 94L system. So as we pick up here where our HRRR model left off, yeah, you can see high pressure just in time for Monday and Tuesday building in across much of the lakes, the Northeast and Southeast Canada. Here across the Southeast, though, that's where you're looking at that stalled frontal boundary with the focal point of tropical moisture. And that's just going to continue throughout Tuesday into Wednesday. Look at what's happening here across the Southeast. You start to see those afternoon showers and thunderstorms kicking up. For Florida and much of the Gulf Coast states, severe weather up here into parts of the Ohio Valley. Yeah, this is just in time for your 4th of July weekend. Yeah, you could have some big rumblers up there into parts of the Northeast, and that moves off the coast there into the 6th, into the 7th. It remains very, very unsettled up here across the east, even into Southeast Canada. And look at tropical wave here just off the Florida coast. That pushing up towards the Florida Panhandle by this point. Tropics down here below your screen will be tremendously active. There's that front moving off the U.S. East Coast just around July 8th. So if we take a look at liquid precipitation amounts here, yeah, the Ohio Valley into the Northeast, you'll see 3/4 to up to 2 inches in some of these heavier thunderstorms Saturday and Sunday. There across the Southeast, especially Florida, will be looking at continued rain. Look at that rain hole around Texas here, really nothing to talk about, but look at that. Yeah, we're just piling on the rain here, even up into the Midwest where we could get up to 3 to 4 inches in some areas. So if we take a look at the European model here, very similar to the GFS as we continue through the first week of July. You can see most of the heaviest rainfall here across the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and into the Northeast. Solid 2.5 to as much as 5.5 inches of rain into the yellows and oranges here. Look at this, all of Florida getting into that 2 to 3.5 inch range. Looking at your Canadian weather outlook here. Yeah, it's a bad weekend here across southern Ontario and Quebec. Much of the central provinces here are really nice, but here across southeast Canada, you could be looking at some storminess here. That's going to be tracking to the east Sunday into New Brunswick, Newfoundland here, Nova Scotia, and then off the coast just in time for Monday for high pressure to build in. Our next storm system here will be looking at severe weather all the way up into parts of Ontario and eventually getting into the Quebec area here. As we continue to push through July 3rd and July 4th here, you can see a cold front pushing through the eastern provinces. But look at this, by the time July 5th rolls around, we have very little in the way of activity here. 2 areas of high pressure building into the east and north here. We have a little bit of a low pressure up towards Hudson Bay here. But you know what? As we head towards July 7th, this is where the activity is really going to be. Strong to severe thunderstorms here across southern Ontario and Quebec. And if we take a look here across Canada, you can see most of the heaviest precipitation rainfalls across southeast Canada as we head through that first week of July. Look at that. Anywhere from, say, 60 to as much as 100 millimeters of rainfall. You're getting upwards of 2.5 to as much as 4.5 inches of rain. Is there anything out here in the Western Pacific besides the monsoon? Let's just take a look through here. This is getting into the right around July 5th, 6th. There is absolutely nothing. We have a lot of monsoon moisture here across the Philippines, Vietnam, Southeast China, all the way up to Japan, but no development. I got plenty more weather for you in just a moment, but take a look at my affiliate. Do you want some awesome maps? Check this out.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so as we take a look at your temperatures here. Yeah, for Saturday, heat is building. Look at that, 90s all the way up into southern Ohio and Pennsylvania. As we head throughout Sunday, look at that cooling trend, though. Look at that big bowl of 70s. Yeah, you probably wish you could have that in Texas, all the way up to the Carolinas and Virginia, where you're into the mid to upper 90s, some areas near 100. As we head into Monday here, look at the 70s all the way down to West Virginia, parts of Northern Virginia. That is crazy. And to Tuesday, you knew that wasn't going to last, because look at these triple-digit heat moving to the Northeast, 90s, already into Ohio and Indiana. As we get into Wednesday, look at this. Hot as a firecracker in the Northeast, 90 in many locations into Thursday. Look at that. Northeast quarter getting into the 90s, mid to upper 80s inland here. And look at the South baking, but you got some cool air up here into the north. Extended forecast for my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania. Saturday and Sunday, we'll be looking at some strong thunderstorms, especially Saturday. You know, damaging wind, large hail potential. Sunday, we'll have some leftover showers and thunderstorms with that frontal boundary. So watch out. Keep an eye to the sky. No weather radio, your phone, whatever you got. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it clears up really nicely, though. But look at that. We had up towards 90 on Wednesday. That is crazy. Is it going to be hot as firecracker? You betcha. And then Independence Day will likely be a chance of showers and storms as well. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget, it's MeteoMark.com. And don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.